Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Improv Gaming.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
No problem, Pete. I'm glad to have you. We're always happy to have you here.
Thank you.
On this episode, we're talking about, or I pose a question, I should say. Pose a question. You're a fan of Bioware, Bioware's Mass Effect trilogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about Andromeda?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I guess that's the kind of consensus. It was all right. It's all right.
It wasn't Mass Effect.
It wasn't Mass Effect. Or was it too much Mass Effect? Well, the question I pose to you, sir, after E3,
Yes.
we got a little bit of an experience seeing Anthem, which is made by Bioware in conjunction with EA. And it was the team that worked on the original Mass Effect trilogy.
Yep.
Now, as a gamer and a fan, what takes precedence for you? Is it the gamer side where you want to play Anthem because it's a new IP and it looks fantastic? Or is it the fan side where clearly Bioware in some shape or form had the resources to make Andromeda work?
Well, you have to understand something. It's two different Biowares. So you have the guys behind
Same company,
the same company,
different departments.
different. Yeah. So you have Anthem's developers from that Bioware who worked on the original trilogy, and then the new Bioware over here working on Andromeda. So it could be a lot of things, but to pose your question first, for me at least, it's a new IP. I feel like Mass Effect was perfect in that trilogy. You know, it's a franchise I've always enjoyed. Same thing with similar to God of War. I played God of War 1, 2, and 3. It was a great story with Kratos. If I never saw Kratos again, cool. But hey, I'm getting him again. So cool.
But what if Kratos was ruined in this one? What if you played this game and everything that made Kratos Kratos or made God of War was suddenly ruined for you?
Yeah.
My question lies in the fact that if you're going to do it right? Like that's the idea that we all have as gamers. I think as gamers and fans, we can all agree if you're going to do it right. But as gamers, we would want to play a new IP, but as fans, we want to see the beauty that is the world that we lived in, right? I stand on the reason I asked this question is because I'm at a crossroads here, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of mistreated a franchise that I was in love with, and then you promised to bring it back. So I was like, oh my God, they're going to do such a better job. They learned from their mistakes. This is going to be great. Everybody's going to be happy. And then they released it and was like, what is this garbage that you put out here? It was okay. It wasn't, same kind of gameplay. And it was like, all right, cool, Mass Effect. I get to hear some of the lore, even though it was trashy, whatever. But then I see Anthem showcased at E3. I was like, I could have had that kind of quality in my Mass Effect.
Could also be that, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Please
Nick,
do.
Of course. The guys behind the trilogy of Mass Effect, after Mass Effect 3, the first one was great. Second one, the combat, everybody was loving. Story was a little bit on the problem side. Not saying it was a terrible story, Mass Effect 2, I'm just saying. And then Mass Effect 3, you have the overall action, no RPG mechanics, which I think you can agree on.
Yeah.
And the story, very controversial, because it was closing the trilogy, and it's like, we had a choosing of what topping we wanted on our ice cream, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I feel like that BioWare was like, you know what? We've had our time with Mass Effect. Let's give it to somebody else. We have this great idea for this new game, Anthem. Let's jump into that and see what we could do here. Have elements, which we've seen that Anthem has with the 3 powers and the jetpacks and everything that looks like that, and especially very similar to Andromeda, I know. But let's do something different and add new... not have a space opera, have something where it takes place. Right now, it looks like in a forest or on a planet. Looks very cool. Let's have these younger guys, these hungry guys, try to work on Mass Effect. And who knows, could be the start for them. And yeah, there were problems, but maybe they'll learn and shoot. I'm just saying as a person. But when it comes to the fans, you have to understand, like, it's not going to be the same game. The thing with God of War is Sony Santa Monica has always done the God of Wars. Uncharted always was done by God of
yes,
by
but there
Naughty
isn't a
Dog.
Santa Monica North and a Santa Monica South.
Yes.
Right? To confuse the fuck out of you. Like Rockstar North and Rockstar. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. It's
Yes.
Rockstar and then Rockstar North, right? All take care of different things, and you see the logos at the beginning. But BioWare doesn't have, hey, this is a new studio that we opened up. It doesn't show it when you open it up. It's just BioWare. It's BioWare Games and BioWare Games, no matter where you open them. The opening credits are BioWare, right? It's not Rockstar versus Rockstar North.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's not, it's Santa Monica, and the reason why you can put your name behind it is because you're keeping your quality control, right? So when people say, "Oh, well, it's a different BioWare," no, it's BioWare. It's BioWare. So somebody should have been there in order to quality control the shit out of it.
Okay, fair.
I think that's a fair point,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
There needs to be quality control on this franchise that's already dying, that you already failed on the last one with. So now you want to create this, and I think the first sight of trouble should have been when we found out that there was no renegade. There was no renegade system inside of there. I think that's the first renegade paragon. When we saw that, it was like, okay, it's not the same BioWare, And there were still like choices when you talk to people, but they were completely irrelevant. Like they didn't affect anything in the world. It really didn't matter.
We didn't see really gameplay until 5 minutes before the game. The first time was at PSX.
Yeah.
And it was basically this platforming simulation.
Yeah. It was like a 3D platformer, essentially.
It's like March. And that wasn't even the release date at the time. They didn't go until January. It's like, hey, it's coming in March. And everybody's like, you just showed a little bit of gameplay. There's not much really known about this game. Like, what is going on? So there was trouble in the water, but how EA and BioWare showed off Anthem, it was smart because they're like, hey, we have this new game Anthem. Here's a little sneak peek at the EA Play conference. Then it's like, check out Microsoft for a full thing. Microsoft's like, hey, Xbox One X, we're going to show the first big game on it, and it's like, here it is. And they showed Anthem. And on my screen, I have the 4K, and it was gorgeous.
It was fucking phenomenal. It
and
looked beautiful.
It was seamless, and we're like, boom, that's what it should have been. So when it comes to that thing, is like,
so I feel like you're very much on the side of Mass Effect was good while it lasted, but I'm ready for something new.
100%.
See, I can agree. That's my problem. I can agree with you, but why even try Andromeda? You know what I'm saying? Like, why even try it? Like, Mass Effect was good while it lasted. You ended on a sour note, then just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Leave it be. Whatever. It is what it is. But you could just come to market with this Anthem game, and it could be phenomenal.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to like.
It could be the new Mass Effect.
It could
series.
be the new. Yeah, it could be, and it's very much like it. Very much could be the new Mass Effect. I mean, essentially, it really
100%.
It really could. It's got the third-person shooter mechanics. It's got the 3 power-ups on the bottom. It's got all this Mass Effect-like stuff, right? The different outfits that you can use and different configurations and all this type of Mass Effect type of things that you can do. So why even bother playing with the idea of bringing out Andromeda? Just go right into Anthem. Come to E3 like, hey, we made a mistake with Mass Effect 3. But here's something that we've been working on, and I think that you're going to love it. It's got seamless multiplayer, because that's what it looks like in the game.
Yeah,
it looks like
there was no load time.
Yeah, it's
like,
seamless multiplayer.
your buddies are coming. Boom, boom. That's it.
Boom, boom. Even that beginning, I realized in the beginning that was somebody joining your party.
Yeah, saying, hey, he
because
needs
she
the
was
XP.
She was talking, yeah, and he just joined your party, and boom, he landed right there. All right, let's go. And then
then they take off.
They jump down, seamlessly integrate into fast travel mode, which is jetpacks, right? Or traveling mechanics like world traveling, whatever. Anyway, seamlessly go right into that, right? Then you fucking come out of that, land on the ground, start exploring, beat the shit out of a couple of things, see this monster no, I'm not fucking with that. You jump off a ledge, boom. Seamless into the water, seamless out of the water. It was just, everything about it was just pure, seamless. Looks like it's got integrated multiplayer, and it's going to be a fucking fun time. And it looks like there's plenty to explore in that world. You could have done the same thing for Mass Effect.
Yep.
Now, I'm still on the fence as to whether or not this is going to take place on one planet or many. I don't know. I don't know if this is just going to take place on one planet. Might be nice if it took place on one planet, but it might be nice if it took place on a multiple. And
Depending
if that's
on
the
how
case,
they play it.
if that's the case, then it's definitely a replacement for Mass Effect. In which case, why even bring Andromeda to the forefront? Like, why even try? Why? So then you can maybe like the only way I could see it, right, is you open up a new studio where you bring in a whole bunch of college kids, right? We're gonna hire you into Bioware, but it's gonna be like Bioware Light, and this is your training ground. Build Mass Effect all over again. We'll give you the engine that we used. We want you to build Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Success or failure determines who stays and who goes, right? Facial animator, you're fired, right? Story, you're fired. You get what I'm saying? As if this BioWare Light like studio was a testing ground for any employees that they might want to bring into like the real BioWare. That's the only way I see that this makes sense. But even still, like, don't fucking force us to buy $60 worth of a game because you wanna what's the word? Audition the talent.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's smart to go with a new IP. I mean, you don't want to have a franchise go for so long. And I bring up also like Assassin's Creed. See it this way. The Eve Ubisoft said, we'll keep making Assassin's Creed until you tell us to say stop. And it went up to Syndicate, and they're like, okay, we see something. Let's take a year off. And the excitement of the new Assassin's Creed, I know you have your gripes, Nick. I understand that. But the excitement of people being like, yo, this is cool. It's in
I have more gripes.
You have more gripes.
Yes. Have you seen the gameplay of Assassin's Creed, the in-depth gameplay?
No.
No, you haven't? Yeah. Watch it. More gripes.
More gripes? Okay.
More gripes.
But it shows that, people can get excited off of a returning franchise. But if it's done poorly, like you're thinking it might be done this year, then it's going to be a bad taste in your mouth. But if you have something like the Prince of Persia trilogy, Sands of Time, Warrior Within, The Two Thrones, fantastic. My favorite trilogy of all time in gaming, hands down. And we got Forgotten Sands, which was great, but it's that core trilogy they didn't mess with. I'm like, that's fine, And then Mass Effect's like, we're not going to mess with the core trilogy, but here's an outsider perspective. Same thing with Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. It was all right, but it was, it's something where they learned, and we haven't seen a Prince of Persia since.
So let me ask you a question, because I think this segues nicely. Do you think 3 is enough? Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, we had enough, blah, right? Halo 1, 2, 3, once we got to 4, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? 3
is still the best Halo.
Whatever. Gears of War 1, 2, 3, we got a 4, we're like, whoa, this is getting a little weird. Like, even we're experiencing this currently, right? God of War 1, 2, 3, awesome, fucking phenomenal, right? I think Gears of War was one of the best executed trilogies I've ever played.
Okay.
I feel like, you know what I mean? One of the best executed trilogies I've ever played. Because I don't feel like there was any moment where it was like, this is absolutely fucking terrible. I feel like every time it was like, oh wow, this is fucking awesome. I feel badass. I feel like fucking Kratos. Like, and then it ended, and it was like, oh, all right, cool. Maybe this 4th one would be just as good, but there's a possibility it might not be. So with that, I ask, is 3 enough? Like, once you get to that 3rd sequel, is it time to just call it quits? Like, just close it out, right? The only other example I could see that might be exception to the rule is Uncharted 4.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Uncharted 4, I felt like, okay, still good. In relevance to 1, 2, and 3, I was like, okay, they still did some shit that was nice. I still look at Uncharted as a whole as overrated, but I feel
that sounds like a good YouTube
video. A YouTube channel might have covered that already.
Check that out.
I wonder which one.
But as you were saying.
As I was saying. I feel like the question now becomes, is it 3? Is 3 enough? Is 3 like once you get to making your 3rd one, you should consider closing out the series as a developer. Like, it's time. Story means that we're going to shut it down. Right? Metal Gear 1, 2, 3, Snake Eater. 4, Guns of the Patriots was like,
I love Guns of the Patriots.
Because I liked it too, but at the same time, you gotta admit,
you liked the
fighting on the roof with 6 different characters and 3 different fucking timelines is like, this is a little ridiculous. It's a nice homage to everything that you've been through as Snake, but like Ocelot is Liquid, and we're fucking fighting in 3 different forms of fighting that we've had throughout the series. Okay, cool homage, but it's kind of ridiculous that his arm is taking over him.
Fair enough. I use the example here of Devil May Cry.
Okay.
You had Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. 3 is by far my favorite. Then you get 4, and they realize 4, and it's good. 4 is good, just like Andromeda was good. Guns of the Patriot was good. You know, a lot of these Judgment was good. You know, when it comes to Gears of War, of course. And then they're like, maybe we should figure out what we're gonna do here. And what did they do? They redid Devil May Cry and made it DMC. So I see maybe a similar thing happening with Mass Effect. If they want to continue,
DMC was poorly received. Poorly received. I mean,
it wasn't Dante. It was Dante, but it wasn't the Dante we
exactly.
know.
And that's the issue. Even DMC was another one that I was going to bring up. Like DMC, Devil May Cry 4 was like, oh God. And then DMC came out. I was like, okay, stop. Just stop doing it because you already screwed up. You screwed up on 2, you screwed up on 4, and DMC is not even done. Now he's half angel. I thought he was just half human, half devil. Right? It's not a remake. It is a remake. It's not a remake. It is a remake. It's not a remake. It is a remake. It's not a remake. It's it. Stop. DMC 3, or Devil May Cry 3 was probably one of the better games in the entire series.
100%.
It was just fucking awesome. You got to see his backstory and his story. You got to see what it is that made Dante who it is and what kind of struggle he had to go through before we got to part 1 where you find him with Trish. Yep. Kind of dealing with...
You see the epic boss battle, like the whole thing.
Yeah, it was just phenomenal.
I think that a game should be, if done right, you can have more than 3, but I think the 3 have to be ironed out. I mean, you have Sly Cooper, another example. You have Sly Cooper, then you have Band of Thieves, and then you have Honor Among Thieves. The first 3. Loved the trilogy of Sly Cooper. Didn't hear anything for a number of years, and they took their time. And then finally they came back, I want to say 6-7 years later, and they made Honor Among Thieves. No, I can't think of the 4th title, but they made Sly 4. And it was fantastic because they took their time. I think with Andromeda, they were rushing, and you could tell at the end they were rushing the facial animations because they needed to hit that Q1 date. They had to get it out before April 1st, which is the new physical year, you know? So it's
fiscal.
Like, physical. I always do that. I just like being physical. But you have all the, like, I don't know. When it comes to the argument, is it for the fans have to know when it's good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think like it's difficult for me, right? Because I feel like I'm a gamer first, right? And if I'm a gamer first, that means that I'm excited for Anthem. Mm-hmm. But the fan in me is like, but look at what they could have done with Mass Effect.
100%.
You know, and the issue isn't necessarily, hey, look what they could have done with Mass Effect, right? This is why I bring this up. Is it's very rare that we have this situation pop up where a developer has 2 projects that they're working on. One is an endeared franchise, and the other is a new IP, and they outperform us on the new IP and not the old one, not the old franchise. It's very rare that we have that situation. Usually, it's a developer wants to go back into a world that they haven't gone back into. They do it and it flops, or they want to go back into the world that they haven't touched on in a while. They take their time, they do it, and it succeeds. But we've never had a situation where a developer goes back into the world, they do it, it flops, and then 3 months later they drop a fucking a trailer for a game that looks very similar and phenomenally better. So I think this is a prime opportunity to ask. You have a game, please.
And it's going to piss off a lot of people.
Okay.
Of course, I'm talking about Uncharted.
Okay.
The first one, you know, people enjoyed. The second one is renowned as one of the best Uncharteds ever. Okay. And people did not, even though it was good, it wasn't as good as
what I'm saying,
2.
Pete.
And then you had
is that there's not a situation where the developer failed at one.
Some people think
and succeeded as another one. Uncharted 3, but this is after the trilogy.
Yeah. But then and then they had The Last of Us a couple months.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I'm just saying as an example.
All right, so Naughty Dog is a good example, right? But they learned their lesson on 4. But that's also the working theory about the trilogy, right? By the time you get to the end of the trilogy, it's already shit. Like the third one is always going to be shit.
Yep.
Compared to the first 2.
Return of the Sith.
Yeah. Well. But the third one always seems to be like crap compared to the first 2. So you know, Uncharted 1, 2, 3 flopped. Okay, but then Last of Us came out, and they're like, oh, okay,
it's phenomenal.
We understand it. But you already went through the fucking trilogy, and the third one failed. And the fourth one failed. You didn't even fucking revisit it in a successful way, and now you're telling us that the reason you didn't revisit it in a successful way is because you were working on something else. It's a very hard place for me to be in, and I don't really have an answer. So I'm looking to you, the people. I did it.
I know.
To you,
You
the
realize
people.
I've been on the side all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let me know down below in the comments. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about Anthem? I'm torn. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Pete doesn't seem so torn. He's just excited to play Anthem. But you guys know who I am on this channel, and I'm always excited for new IPs. But at the same time,
You've always been the more big Mass Effect fan.
I've always
compared to me, who's
yeah.
been the more Uncharted or Life is Strange
So,
or Spider-Man.
as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by the host with the most, Mr. I'm Wondering himself. It's Mr. Peter Anderson.
As I live and breathe.
As he lives and breathes.
Thank you for having me on the show, Nick.
Oh, you're welcome, Pete. We'd love to have you anytime.
Oh, maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
Maybe
We'll
next
see. We'll see. I'll have your people talk to my people, or
Sounds
my
good.
people call your people. Maybe we'll do lunch.
Oh, that sounds nice. You got to go to a nice Italian restaurant. If you didn't know, I'm joined with the best ponytail in the business.
It's fabulous.
It's Mr. Nicholas De Jesus.
How's it going tonight, ladies and gentlemen? We are Improv Gaming. We come to you every Tuesdays and Thursdays with little tidbits. I think these ran a little longer than we expected. But I think they were good.
We got a good conversation.
Yeah, I think we got really good conversation. Let us know what you think of our conversation. But we also come to you every Sunday live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Whether it's standard or daylight savings, that's the time. It's 6 p.m.
What's on the Sunday live show?
On the Sunday live show, we talk about news, current news. We talk about topic of the show and what's coming out. If you like what you saw, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And as always,
Spider-Man's
game on.
better.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.